Destiny is dying. Destiny is in a bad place. Destiny is in a rough place. If Bungie don't do something, Destiny is going to die. These are comments that we have heard since the inception of Destiny. After the glory days of when the game first came out, this line of comments were consistent for years. Every single DLC release, after a month or two, that would be where the community goes to. There's nothing to do. There's no content. This game's dying. This is in a rough spot. Do something. And then that would happen every single DLC release, every single year up until now. The one thing I have noticed though is those comments in terms of the timeline from the DLC being released to when those comments are made is getting shorter and shorter and shorter, which is a problem. A lot of people look back at these comments and see all these comments over the years, every single DLC release, and they kind of use that as proof as to why the game isn't actually dying, why it isn't in a rough spot, because the game's still here today. Those comments seem to be negated by that concept and idea. I disagree with that wholly, because a game of Destiny's franchise history, of its level, of where it's at in terms of, you know, games that have lasted a long time, they shouldn't have as consistent negative comments about it being in a rough spot as they have done. People are still playing the game because they want to love the game. They want the game to be the game that they want it to be, like Destiny 1 was at the very start, and the Taken King as well. You know, people want that game back, or at least something of that level, of that impactfulness. So they keep playing and they keep coming back because they want to have that feeling of enjoyment while playing Destiny again. That's why the game is still around. But also why it's still around is the people who are talking about these and making these comments are the vocal minority. The fan base and the player base of Destiny are mostly casual players who barely get involved with the community. They just sit down, play a game that they like, and they're not too bothered or fussed by the intricate problems that we all face on a daily basis due to playing all day, every day, content creating, and high skill level PvP people who go through trials and try to pub stomp and make content around PvP. And the problem is you can't balance that between the casual player base and the vocal minority and all those people that I just listed, because that's two very different games. You know, neither side are ever going to be happy if you go one way or the other. If you cater to, you know, the high skill PvP and what they want, then the casual fan base will walk away from the game because it becomes too much of a serious game for them. And if you go the opposite way, like kind of they are doing right now, cater to casual people, the people who are high skill PvP players, content creators, aren't fulfilled with the game that they're playing. Destiny needs to find a balance between the two, but I think both ends of the spectrum are so far away that you can't make a successful game based off what both sides of the spectrum want. It's impossible. So they cater to the casual player base because there are way more of them than the vocal minority. I would say it's like a 90-10 split. So you're going to cater to the 90% because they're the people who are keeping the game afloat by logging on every day, maybe buying some silver every now and again, pushing those analytics and statistics up within the game to make it look more successful than it probably should be in its current state. And that's the problem, is that the community is broken into two places, and the one place that they're catering for is the bigger place to be. It's the place to be, to have a party. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. And I say this with kind of on the fence between each side, because I have been a content creator on Destiny and well, not Destiny 2, but Destiny, playing it 12 hours a day, editing and recording videos for another 6 hours a day. You know, my whole life was based around Destiny, getting to the highest power level as possible, or light level as it was back in the day. You know, getting all the god raw weapons to make videos on, spending as much time as I can involved in the game so that I can make content and videos in, you know, on YouTube and stuff like that. And I'm assuming that's the same for streamers. They want to play the game as often as possible, as much as possible, because it's content for them. It's part of their, you know, career that they want to make, you know, and especially with high skill PvP players, you know, they want to be the best, whether it's content creating or not. They just want to be the best. They want to showcase their skills every single day in Crucible, which now they can't because of Stasis. And this really frustrates me, because back in the day I did it as well. I was one of these people. Everyone was saying we need another subclass, we need something new, we need something unique, we need something different, because the only things that we saw change was we would get the Scorn and we'd get Taken, which are basically fallen enemies with a slight bit of change, and every other single enemy types but with a black skin. Like that's that's all. That's the only two major changes that have ever been in the game, realistically. So everyone wanted a new subclass, and Bungie really missed the mark with their new subclass, at least for PvP anyway. Because I love it in PvE. I think there's nobody here watching this video in the community who would complain about these classes in PvE. But PvP, it's frustrating. I'm an average player, so I play 9 games of Crucible a week to get my pinnacles across all 3 characters, and I enjoy it to a certain extent. But when I get frozen, when Stasis is involved, I do get frustrated, like, oh god, for fuck's sake, stop freezing me, stop, shouldn't be a thing. But I also laugh a hell of a lot, because as a casual player, a player who gets like 1.6 KD now, back in the day but like a 2 KD, I have to laugh at this because I'm not good enough in PvP to find this as a big problem. But I cannot imagine how depressing it is, how frustrating it is, and how stressful it is for these high tier players in PvP to be able to just be frozen still by a warlock melee while they're in their super. The ability strength on these classes is ridiculous. It's crazy. It's just mind-boggling, like how this wasn't sorted out prior to release. Like, it feels like there was no playtesting, you know, especially with the original warlock build before they nerfed it. And maybe that's because of COVID. Maybe that's because they just couldn't do it last year. And I really hope that is the reason why, and not just the fact that they were blind to what it was, because then that spells problems and trouble. And, you know, Stasis has its whole own video to go in depth about, which I probably won't do because I don't have the energy to deal with Stasis for a video. But I just cannot imagine, especially in trials as well, I cannot imagine what that's like to be competitive, to want to be the best, to being the best and showcasing your high skill, whether that's, you know, in a trials match against some other people or just in a general control match against other people, as well as content creators who are doing this all day in, day out to try and just, you know, show people and attract people to their streams and to their videos, showcasing how badass they are at the game, to not be able to do that anymore because of a stupid subclass in terms of high skill level anyway, that can stop people dead and freeze them. It's ridiculous. But I also think there's other problems with the game right now. You know, there's no variety in weapons. I mean, you don't even need weapons right now because of the abilities on Stasis. But most of the weapons that I see are Crimson, Fell, Winter's Lie. That's literally it. Maybe a sniper here or there, you know, people who are really good at hitting their shots. But most of the time, especially on Titan recently, it's just slide shotguns. And, you know, I'm not going to say anything about nerfing shotguns because I've learned from my past. But there's no variety in weapons because there's 1 or 2 weapons that are really good. And then every other weapon that may have competed have all been sunsetted, which is just ridiculous. You know, I get it. You want to sunset, you want to change, you want to be able to bring things back and forward, put something out of the game, bring something else back in. That's fine. But you don't sunset 90% of the armory available in the game and then not bring even 10 weapons into the game outside of the raid anyway. It's just, I don't even understand how they got to that decision. And there's really no way to change that. There's really no way to fix PvP at all. Not that I can see anyway. But then again, I said I'm not a game developer. You know, you have the ranked glory playlist, but nobody plays it because it's all sweaty, stacked teams, and it becomes frustrating and boring to try and go through and rank up glory. And right now, I don't even think there is a reason to rank up glory because there's no like season weapon is there for PvP. So there's no reason to play it on glory at all. And then you have, you know, casual PvP, which is just crazy. Like, I've always felt like skill-based matchmaking for myself has always been out of whack because I'm not that great at the game, but I always queue into people who are trials experts, trials carries, you know, people who carry trials people to the lighthouse and stuff, because I know their clan tags and their names and stuff like that because I've seen them around so much. And these people are ridiculous. You know, they're bouncing off the walls like bloody Spider-Man doing backflips before they shotgun me in the face. And I don't understand how I'm in that bracket for skill-based matchmaking. But I came up with a theory. I'm just going to cover this very quickly. I don't think it is skill-based matchmaking. I think it's rank-based matchmaking because I find when I'm at Legend and I haven't reset yet, I'm playing the best people in the goddamn world. When I reset, I tend not to get as many sweaty people. Maybe that's just, you know, my brain working, trying to figure out how this actually works out. But regardless, anyway, you know, skill-based matchmaking or whatever it is is too strong in this game right now because people aren't enjoying Crucible in general because of Stasis, but then you're also playing against people who are using Stasis who are absolutely fucking gods at the game. And that's where the balance lies, because I'm saying that as a casual player, I don't want to have to go up against super sweaty people every single game, because then that becomes frustrating and boring for me. But those people who are really good at PvP, the ones who are killing me, want to be able to play against people like me so that they can absolutely annihilate everyone. And that's the problem. You cannot fix that. Because if you introduce a playlist without skill-based matchmaking, that's going to be filled with the sweaty people because they want to get gameplays, they want to make content, they want to feel even better than they are by showing people that they annihilate by getting 60 kills a game. And even if you opt like a decision whether you want to play with skill-based matchmaking or without skill-based matchmaking, everyone who is really good at the game is going to choose not to have skill-based matchmaking. So there really isn't a way to fix PvP in that terms, in that level, in terms of skill-based matchmaking and who you match up against. And then on top of that, with the frustrations on both sides, Stasis exists. So I guess Destiny really is in a bad spot right now, especially on the PvP side. But I have to say, I really do feel sorry for Bungie, because it feels like no matter what they try to do or introduce or change the game, it's always wrong, it's always bad. And then they don't communicate because they feel like everything they do or say is going to be met with hate. And I guess that's the point I'm trying to get at. I don't think Bungie won't change the game or won't listen. I think they can't. I think they're in a place right now where it's got to the point where they cannot balance the game. They cannot balance PvP. And as frustrating as it is across the board, I think right now is the most balanced they can make the game. What I would like to see, and I think the only true way they're going to move forward from the state that the game is in, is by making Destiny free. I think if they, well, not scrap Destiny 2, but if they scrap development on DLCs and extensions and updates for Destiny 2, start Destiny 3 on a whole new engine and build a game from the ground up, I think that's where they can get the game to a place where it's balanced amongst everyone. But I think the whole game has been going on for so long and so many changes and, you know, meta changes and stuff like that. It's got to the point now where the game can't be balanced. Well, not that it can't be balanced, but it can't be balanced in the sense of what everybody wants in terms of PvP. I don't know though, I'm just rambling. I'm a crap PvP player. It's just something I've seen a lot of people talking about right now, and I just wanted to, you know, get my feelings across about the game. As a casual player, it's an incredible game. There's so much to do. I'm actually quite overwhelmed with everything that I have to do on a weekly basis, but I don't have to do them because I'm not trying to make content. I'm not trying to level up really quickly. I'm not trying to do raids. I'm not trying to be the best in the world. And then everybody else who is trying to do those things doesn't feel fulfilled or heard or listened to, and it's just a mess. It's just a mess across the board. And I believe start a Destiny 3 ground up from the bottom. You got a game that everyone's going to love if you do it right. Let me know what you think down below in the comments section. If you're still here, I love you. Leave a comment saying something. Hawkmoon. I don't even know why Hawkmoon came into mind. But leave a comment saying Hawkmoon and then the rest of your comment so that I know you're still here. Thank you for watching. I've been Easy Now. You guys have been awesome.